So, good morning to all of you. So, let us start the class. So, almost we have came to an end of this particular course. Only two more topics are left from my end. Sorry, three more topics are left. But since Shudipto sir is taking the bolted joint part, so I will not take the bolted joint part. Uh, so the topics which are left from my end is your design of rivet joints and design of welded joints. Today I will start the rivet joints, which is nothing but your fifth module of this course. So just give me a minute so that I can present my screen. Can you see my screen? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay, just wait for a minute. Hello? Can anyone please unmute yourself and let me know whether my slides are visible or not and whether I am audible or
Yes,
not?
sir. Visible and audible.
Thank you. Thank you. So let us start with the topic. So if you see the syllabus portion of this course, from my part, I have covered so far the first, second, and third module. So I am left with fourth module and fifth module. In fifth module, this bolted joint part it is taken by Shudipto sir, so I will not take this part. So I am left with only two more topics, that is this rivet joint and welded joint. So today we will start the design procedure of rivet joint. Before starting the design procedure of rivet joint, today's class will be a basics of rivet joint. That is what is a rivet joint, where it is used, why it is advantageous, and what are the terminologies that are there before which you need to understand in order to understand the design procedure of rivet joint and all those things. So if you are referring the VB Bhandari book, then you can refer chapter number 8. I repeat, in chapter number 8 you will get both the welded joint part as well as the rivet joint part. I repeat, if you are referring the VB Bhandari book, you have to refer chapter number 8 of VB Bhandari. Chapter number 8 you will get both the rivet joint part also as well as the welded joint part also. Okay, so before starting the rivet joint part, first of all let us clearly or let us carefully observe these two diagrams. So if I think you have seen these two diagrams earlier anytime in your day to day life. Can anyone tell
Yes,
me?
sir.
Can anyone tell me what is the left side diagram is what and the right side diagram is what? If you can answer.
The left side bolted joint.
Okay, I have written it. That is not an issue. Okay, left side. So I can see that the left side diagram representing a bolted joint and the right side diagram is representing a rivet joint. Fine. Basically, in mechanical engineering, see, any machine component or any machine element or sorry, any machine member is made up of several number of components. Any machine member is made up of several number of machine component. Fine. So there is a need to join one component with the other component, then only your entire machine will be ready and you can use that machine for further purpose. So in mechanical engineering we can classify joints. So whenever there is a joint kind of thing, for example, if you are having a machine member, in that machine member somewhere there will be a joint, कहीं ना कहीं पे तो joint होगा, ठीक है. So normally in mechanical engineering, mechanical joints are classified into two categories. One joint you will call it as the permanent joint, and the second category of classification is known as separable joint or temporary joint. If you see this diagram, this bolted joint is nothing but my temporary joint, and this rivet joint is nothing but my permanent joint. Why I am telling it as temporary, why I am telling it as permanent, there is a reason. So before understanding that what is a temporary joint and what is a permanent joint, first let us understand that why we need a joint. We need a joint to join two parts. Two parts. For example, in a machine member, if I am having, or say two plates, say I am having one plate, this is one plate, and this is another plate. Say this is plate A and this is plate B. If you want to join plate A with plate B, many options are there. You can use bolts. If you will use bolt, then the joint will become a bolted joint. If you use rivet to join part A with part B, then the joint will be a rivet joint. If you weld, if you weld part A and part B, then the joint which you will get, the joint will be a welded joint. Fine. So I can see that. See, this is a bolt. This is, say this is your plate A, and this is your plate B. So I have joined plate A with plate B by bolt. By bolt. So it is a bolted joint. But in the second diagram,
মানে গেট
ওটাকে ফলো
বাবা
করে না,
মানে
সোজা কথা ওটাকে ফলো করে না।
hello, please unmute yourself. Please unmute yourself.
ইয়েস স্যার
স্যার,
ইয়েস স্যার
ইউ আর অডিবল।
No, no, I think somebody unmuted yourself, so that's why I was telling you. Okay, next. Next is, if you see the second diagram, this is my plate.
স্যার
স্যার,
স্ক্রিন
ইউর
নট
স্ক্রিন ইজ নট ভিজিবল।
My screen is not visible. Wait. So far, whatever I was telling, that was visible to you.
ইয়েস স্যার
Okay, okay, okay. Now it is visible.
ইয়েস
ইয়েস
স্যার।
স্যার
Okay. So if I see the second diagram, fine. In the second diagram, fine. Say this is my plate. This is my plate A, and this is my, say, plate B. So I am joining plate A with plate B by rivet. So I can say that this is nothing but a rivet joint. And literally, I will tell you that in your day to day life, you have seen this rivet joint somewhere. Can you name the places where you have seen the rivet joint?
স্যার ইন
হাওড়া
ব্রিজে
ব্রিজ।
Yes, sir. Howrah Bridge.
Howrah
Yes, sir.
Bridge.
In bridges, they have used that rivet joint.
Not only Howrah Bridge, any kind of say railway bridge. Not only a bridge, say any kind of railway bridge. If you see when you travel through train, fine, or when you travel through bus, if any truss kind of bridge is there, fine, you will see that each member is joined with the other member by the help of rivet joint. Yes or no? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes or no? Okay, fine. So now you have understood that what is rivet joint means by schematic diagram. Now you understood that what is a rivet joint, what is a bolted joint. But bolted joint is a classification of temporary joint, and rivet joint is a classification of permanent joint. So now let us understand what is this permanent joint and what is this temporary joint. Okay. What is a permanent joint? Permanent joints are those joints which cannot be disassembled without damaging the assembled parts. That means in permanent joint, assembling and disassembling of parts are not permitted. दैट मीन्स आप मान लो अगर आपके पास दो मेटेलिक पार्ट है, पार्ट ए एंड पार्ट बी, आपने पार्ट ए और पार्ट बी को ज्वाइन किया रिवेट जॉइंट से, ठीक है। अब मान लो आफ्टर सम इंटरवल ऑफ टाइम यू वांट टू इंस्पेक्ट समथिंग इन पार्ट ए, then what you will do? You will dismantle part A and part B by the help of rivet. That is not possible. You cannot dismantle rivet. That means if you want to dismantle, what will happen? You have to damage the parts. If you damage both the parts, then only you can dismantle the rivet. So those joints in which assembling and disassembling are not possible, those type of joints are known as permanent joints. And very famous examples of permanent joints are rivet joint and welded joint. If I talk about welded joint, in mechanical workshop you are having two metals, say two piece of metals which you want to weld. You have welded both the two parts by some welding technique. Then after that, if I tell you that tomorrow you dismantle your part A and part B, can you dismantle without damaging the assembled part? You cannot dismantle the welded joints. You cannot dismantle the riveted joints. So, riveted and welded joints are examples of permanent joint. And what is a permanent joint? Permanent joints are those joints in which assembling and disassembling is not possible without damaging the assembled parts. Is it clear? Any doubt in permanent joints? कोई डाउट है किसी को?
No, sir.
हेलो.
Clear, sir.
ओके, बाकी लोग रेस्पॉन्ड करो whether it is clear or
Yes,
not.
sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Clear.
Next is your separable joint. Now, what is separable joint? Separable joints are those joints which permit assembly and disassembly without damaging the parts. That means in separable joint you can dismantle anytime as well as you can assemble anytime the parts. Fine. The very famous example of separable joints are bolted joints, cotter joint, knuckle joint, different types of couplings, etc. For example, if I take the case of cotter joint, I think you have studied in your previous classes that cotter joint consists of many small parts. So you can dismantle those small parts anytime during the inspection. If you want to inspect the cotter joint at some point of time, you can dismantle those small parts anytime and you can assemble those small parts anytime. So during assembling and dismantling, nowhere you are damaging the entire assembly. Are you damaging it? Whenever you are dismantling and assembling the cotter joint, all the parts of cotter joint, are you damaging any parts? You are not damaging any parts. That means this cotter joint, bolted joint, knuckle joint, different types of couplings are the examples of separable joints. What are separable joints? Separable joints are those joints in which assembling and disassembling is possible without damaging the assembled parts. Those are separable joints. So that's why normally in big structures, I know that in big structures such as bridges, railway bridges, strength is the most important priority, because as a designer, I will not want that the railway bridge which I have designed, that will fail after 2 days, that will fail after 10 days. So definitely, when it is the case of railway bridges or some other big structures, will I go for separable joints or will I go for permanent joints? Which joint will I use to assemble all the parts of some big structures? Will I use separable joints or will I use permanent joints?
Sir, permanent joints.
Yes, because permanent joints are having more strength as compared to separable joints, because in separable joints you can use screwdriver, you can use a spanner to tighten or to loosen the dismantle parts, which which is a case of danger. Fine, which is a case of danger if you use these separable joints in some big structures. Fine. So always remember, all the big structures or the big mechanical components which we are designing every time, fine, normally we use, means most, if seven, um, maximum, in maximum case you should use go for permanent joint. But there is a case where permanent joint is not possible to use, then you have to use separable joints. There is no more options. So these are some of the examples of permanent joint and separable joint, and this is the basic difference between permanent joint and separable joint. So always remember, rivet and welded joints are permanent joint. Remaining all other joints such as bolted joints, couplings, quarter joint, knuckle joint, turnbuckle, etc., they are the examples of separable joint. इज इट क्लियर? कोई डाउट है यहाँ को, यहाँ तक किसी को?
Clear है sir. No doubt.
ओके, बाकी लोग रिस्पॉन्ड करो, कोई डाउट है किसी को?
Clear है sir.
Clear, sir.
ओके,
Fine, sir.
फाइन. So since we are talking about a rivet joint, first let us understand what is a rivet. डिजाइन, रिवेट जॉइंट का डिजाइन करने से पहले मुझे तो ये पता होना चाहिए कि रिवेट होता क्या है, रिवेट दिखता कैसा है, रिवेट बनता कैसा है. फाइन. So this diagram, this figure A, B, C and D will tell you what is a rivet joint and how a rivet joint is made. Okay. So let us consider, okay, rivet joint is what? Okay, let me find. This is a rivet. This is a rivet. A rivet normally consists of three parts. I repeat, a rivet normally consists of three parts. First part is called the head of the rivet. Second part is called the shank portion of the rivet, or the second name is body. Either you call it as the shank portion or you call it as the body portion. And this shank portion is generally cylindrical in shape. That means cross section will be circular in nature. Cross section of shank is circular in nature, and by look it looks cylindrical in shape. Fine. And the third portion is called point. Third portion of the rivet is called point. Basically, a rivet consists of three parts: head, shank, and point. Which is my point? Which is my point? This is my point. This is, wait. Yes, this is your point. That means this is the end portion of the shank. On this end portion of the shank, again you have to place a head. Then only your joint will be a closed joint. If you don't place a head at the end portion of the shank, your joint will be an open joint. Then chances of failure will increase. So I, by some mechanical methods, I put a head over here. I don't call it as a head. I will call it as a point. I will call it as a point. So now this entire assembly is known as your rivet. This entire assembly is known as your rivet. So basically a rivet consists of three parts. The first part is called head, which is integral to the shank. The second part is called the shank. The second name of the shank is body of the rivet, and this shank is cylindrical in nature. It looks cylindrical in nature. Cross section of the shank is circular, and the end portion of the shank, with the end portion of the shank, again you have to make a head of the rivet. Then only this rivet will be a closed joint, and that head portion is known as the point portion. Is it clear, the different parts of rivet? Any doubt? कोई डाउट है किसी को?
No, sir.
बाकी लोग रिस्पॉन्ड करो, क्या कोई डाउट है किसी को?
No, sir.
ओके ओके, चलो। सो हमने ये तो देख लिया कि रिवेट होता कैसा है। अब मुझे इस रिवेट को क्या करना है? आई नीड टू जॉइन any two metal part or any two mechanical part by the help of this rivet. How I will do it? Fine. Let us say, or let us consider a case that this is, say, part A of any mechanical component. This is, say, part B of that same mechanical component, and it has been told to you that you have to join these two mechanical component by the help of rivet. How you will do it? For that, what I will do is, consider, see figure number B. Fine. I will take up a die. I will take up a die. I think you understand what is a die. You might have studied in your manufacturing. Yes or no? Fine. Okay. I take a die. That die is nothing but a backup bar. That die is nothing but a backup bar. On that die, what I do, I put the head of the rivet. Fine. On that die, that means through this die, your rivet will pass through these two parts. I repeat, in order to join these two metallic parts by rivet joint, what I do, I take a die. That die is known as backup bar, and through this backup bar, my rivet will pass. Through this backup bar, my rivet will pass. From the figure B, it is very much clear that from this backup bar, your rivet is passing. How it is passing? Now, if you want to insert rivet between these two metallic part, what you need to do? You have to drill a hole within these two metallic part, and the diameter of the hole will be nothing but exactly equal to the diameter of the shank portion. Yes or no? Yes or no? हेलो
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
भाई, मुझे अगर इस रिवेट को इन दोनों मेटेलिक पार्ट के बीच से पास करूंगा, तब तो जाके ये दोनों मेटेलिक पार्ट ज्वाइन होगा। तो अगर मैं इस रिवेट को दोनों मेटेलिक पार्ट के बीच से पास करूंगा तो क्या करना पड़ेगा? मुझे एक होल ड्रिल करना पड़ेगा बाय द हेल्प ऑफ ड्रिलिंग मशीन। अब जब मैं होल ड्रिल करूंगा बिटवीन दीज टू मेटेलिक पार्ट, तो उस होल का कुछ डायमीटर होगा। उसका डायमीटर किसके बराबर होना चाहिए? उसका डायमीटर शैंक
Shank,
का जो
sir.
डायमीटर होगा उसी के बराबर होगा। तब तो जाके जो आपका रिवेट है वो दोनों मेटेलिक पार्ट को पकड़ पाएगा, नहीं तो पकड़ नहीं पाएगा। नहीं तो वहां पे क्या रहेगा, मिसअलाइनमेंट रहेगा, तो आपका जो रिवेट है वो
Yes, sir.
वो थ्रू आउट पास हो जाएगा. फाइन. सो व्हाट आई विल डू इज, now I will drill hole. I will drill a hole of size or of diameter exactly equal to the diameter of the shank. Fine. Assume that this is that hole. Assume that this is that hole. Fine. So now what you do, you just bring this part, or you just touch the part A of the metallic part with the part B of the metallic part. When you touch it, this is the condition. This is the condition. This is your first part, and this is your second part. Already you have drilled a hole whose diameter is nothing but equal to the diameter of the shank portion or the body portion, and already you are having this backup bar over here. Already you are having this backup bar or die over here. Now what I will do is, I am having this portion. I am having this portion of the rivet. That means I am having the head, I am having the shank portion. Now what I will do, from the lower end I will insert this head as well as shank portion through this hole. Then definitely this is the diagram. Now this figure B represents the case. Figure B represents the case. Yes or no? होगा कि नहीं
Yes,
होगा?
yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
होगा. Fine. Now if you see the two metallic part, you have joined with a rivet joint. But will this rivet joint be safe? क्या ये rivet joint safe होगा? जो आपने जो दो पार्ट को ज्वाइन करने के लिए ये जो रिवेट यूज किया है, क्या ये सेफ होगा? हेलो.
नो सर.
क्यों सेफ क्यों नहीं होगा?
सर दूसरा हेड नहीं है तो
yes
दूसरा
yes
साइड का
yes
मेटल
very
को.
good, very good. The upper head, you don't call it as head, you call it as point, because technically the technical term is point. That point portion is not there in the upper end of the rivet. If the point portion is not there, that means this is an open riveted joint. And if you use open riveted joint in any machine member to join any two mechanical component, there is a danger. Anytime that component can get dismantled. Fine. So what I do, in order to in order to add that point part in the top portion of rivet, I use one manufacturing method called upsetting. UPSETTING. Upsetting process. Have you gone through this term before? Upsetting. आपने क्या सुना है इस बारे में, अपसेटिंग के बारे में? Upsetting
Yes sir,
method.
some portion of the material is removed to give it a particular shape in upsetting.
Basically, what is upsetting? In upsetting, we are having two die. This is the top die. This is the bottom die. In between the two die, I place a component. I place a component whose shape or whose height. Basically, this is the height of the component whose height I need to reduce, or whose shape I need to change. What I will do, so this bottom die is fixed. This top die, what I will do, I will apply a hammer. I will apply some hammer, some blows of hammer on this upper die. So with the blows of hammer, what will happen? This portion of the this metallic portion, what happen? It will deform. The height will get reduced, and finally you will get this type of shape. Finally, you will get somewhat say this kind of shape. Yes or no? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Somewhat you will get this kind of shape. So we use this upsetting process. What we do, again we take a die, again we take a upper die. This is that upper die. On this upper die, what I do, I take on this upper die, what I do, I take a length, I take a length of the, that means see, this shank is made up of some material. I take the same material. I take the same material. Now see, this much portion is open. This much portion is open. Fine. I need to close this much portion. So what I do, I will place a die over here. I will place a die over here, and this much portion is open. So this much portion, I need to give this shape. I need to give this shape, say a cap kind of shape. So how I will do it? I will do it by the help of this upsetting process. That means here I will apply some hammer blows. Here I will apply some hammer blows. So as a result of which, what will happen after some interval of time, the portion of the shank which is open, it will take this shape, this cap kind of shape. once it take Once it takes this cap kind of shape, the figure number C is your final diagram. Figure number C is your final diagram. Now you can see that the part A is joined with the part B by the help of rivet joint, in which this portion is called head, this portion is called shank or body, and this top portion is called your point. And if you look at the figure D, now we can call this figure D as the complete rivet joint. Oh, we have used single rivet to join part A, metallic part A with metallic part B. So I will call it as a single riveted joint. So this is the entire mechanism of rivet joint. What is rivet? What are the different parts of rivet? How a rivet joint is used to join any two mechanical part? This is the entire scenario. So if you are having any kind of doubt, you can ask, or else we will move to the next slide. कोई डाउट है किसी को?
Sir, sir, the same process is used everywhere.
See, this is the mechanical method. This is the mechanical method. Sorry, this is the hand, that is manual method. But nowadays, advanced machines and advanced techniques are there. So normally we don't use this manual method. We use those advanced machines. We use those machines to do this procedure. But if say you are using rivet joint in any small assembly, then you can use this manual method.
Okay, sir.
कोई डाउट और किसी को? हेलो.
नो सर.
ओके, बाकी लोग प्लीज रेस्पॉन्ड करो, कोई डाउट है कि नहीं है?
Clear, sir.
Okay, fine. Let me delete or erase everything. Okay, so I can ask this thing in your end sem exam or in your midterm exam. Then you have to draw these 4 diagrams and you have to explain it. What is happening in first figure? What is happening? Means I can ask you that explain the mechanism of a rivet joint. Then with the help of these 4 diagrams, you have to explain what is happening in first figure, what is happening in second figure, what is happening in third and fourth figure, and finally you are getting the last figure, which is your rivet joint. Okay, so see, whatever I have told just now, it is there in this slide. So I am just reading the slides. If you are having any doubt, you please ask me, or else we will move on to the next slide. So it is written that a rivet consists of a cylindrical shank with a head portion at one end, which is shown in figure A. The head is formed on the shank by upsetting process in a machine called automatic header. So I was telling you that this upsetting process which we were doing, this upsetting process is done in a machine, and that name of the machine is known as automatic header machine. The rivet is inserted in the holes of the machine part being assembled, which is shown in the second figure, and the head is firmly held against the backup bar. That is, the lowermost die is nothing but your backup bar. In the riveting process, the protruding end of the shank means that portion of the shank which is left, or that portion of the shank in which the cover has not been applied, that is upsetted by the blows of hammer. We apply some blows of hammer to form the closing head, and that closing head is nothing but your point of the rivet, which is shown in your figure number C. And the terminology, there are three terminologies in rivet, that is the head portion, the shank portion, and the point portion. Okay, so any doubt in this slide? Already I have discussed this slide in the previous slide. कोई doubt है किसी को?
No, sir.
Okay, fine. So I think Srijit was asking me that whether we do these things manually or we do these things by the help of some machines. So this is your answer.
Yes.
Normally there are two methods of riveting. The first method is called the hand riveting method, which we have discussed just now, and the second method is called machine riveting method, which you use it in industries. What is hand riveting? Already we have discussed. In hand riveting, a die is placed on the protruding end of the shank, that is the leftover portion of the shank, which is shown in the third figure, and the blows are applied by the hammer to form the closing head. But the same process in machine riveting, how it is done in machine riveting, listen very carefully. In machine riveting, the die is a part of hammer. In hand riveting, externally we are using hammer on the die to form the closing head of the rivet. But in machine riveting, die is nothing but it is a part of hammer. Die is nothing but acting as a hammer, which is operated by some pneumatic or hydraulic or some steam pressure. By the help of pneumatic, hydraulic, or steam pressure, automatically that die does the operation of hammer and it forms the closing head. So this is the difference between hand riveting and machine riveting. Am I clear, Shrijit? Did you got my point now?
Yes, sir, got it.
Okay. So these are the two methods by which you can do riveting. Either you can use the hand riveting method or you can use the machine riveting method. Normally these days machine riveting method is more common. But if the two parts which you are joining, that is not that much complicated, then you can use this hand riveting method. Any doubt? किसी को कोई doubt है इस slide में? किसी को कोई डाउट है इस स्लाइड में? हेलो,
Clear,
No,
is
sir.
no doubt.
ओके, बाकी लोग प्लीज रिस्पॉन्ड करो. At least I need 3 to 4 responses. Then I
No,
will
sir.
understand that it is clear. Okay,
Yes, sir, clear.
fine, sir. चलो ठीक है. Let us move forward. Next topic is your specification of a rivet. What do I understand by the term called specification? If you are a designer, you want to say design a rivet, fine, or say you want to use a rivet in order to join two metallic parts. What you will do? You will go to the market, then you will go to the shop and you will ask the shopkeeper that I want a rivet. Then how that shopkeeper will understand that which rivet you want, because rivets are available in many shapes as well as in many sizes. So how that shopkeeper will understand that which shape and which size of rivet you are asking for? That is nothing but the specification of a rivet. That means if you want to buy a rivet from a market, you have to tell the shopkeeper about its specification. So what is the specification of a rivet? A rivet is normally specified by its shank diameter. I repeat, a rivet is normally specified by its shank diameter, which is very much clear from the diagram. I know that this is my rivet. In this rivet, this portion is called the head of the rivet, and this portion is called the shank of the rivet. and it is very much clear that shank is cylindrical in shape, so the cross section of the shank will be circle. So the rivet is specified by the shank diameter of the rivet. That means if you are going to the market, if you are going to a shop, and if you are asking that shopkeeper that I want a rivet, then he will ask you, okay, tell me that which shank diameter of rivet you want. Then you have to tell that, yes, I want a 20 mm rivet. By this line, the shopkeeper will understand that, or he will give you a rivet whose shank diameter is 20 mm. Or you will tell him that I want an 18 mm rivet. I want a rivet whose specification is 18 mm. Then by this 18 mm, the shopkeeper will understand, or he will give you a rivet whose shank diameter is 18 mm. Normally, rivets are available in following standard sizes. Those sizes are 12, all dimensions are in mm: 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 27, 30, 33, 36, 39, 42, and 48 mm. These sizes are taken from the design data book. These sizes are taken from design data book. In design data book, if you want to purchase any rivet from a market, rivet, the specification of rivet is within this range. That is, it starts from 12 mm and its end at 48 mm, and these are the possible ranges. In the second diagram, if you see the second diagram, that is, which diagram? This diagram. That is this diagram. If you see, fine. D is what? D is nothing but the shank diameter of rivet. And what is L? L is the length of the shank, or length of the body of the rivet. Is it clear? Any doubt in this specification part? कोई doubt है किसी को इस specification part में?
No, sir,
Yes,
it's
sir.
clear.
Clear,
Yes.
sir.
Okay, fine. Okay. Since many of you are working in with that automobile part, with that automobile society, so let me tell you, from now onwards, if you are going to the market to purchase any rivet, you have to tell to the shopkeeper or to the supplier that I want a rivet of 20 mm size, of 30 mm size, of 14 mm size. Then he will understand that yes, you want a rivet whose shank diameter is 22 mm, 24 mm, and so on. Fine. Okay. Next. Next topic is the different types of rivet head. Different types of rivet head. I am not going into the theory part because that theory part is there in the Bhandari. So you can refer those theory parts. That means what is a snap head rivet, what are the different dimensions of snap head rivet. All those things are there in the Bhandari part. You can refer VB Bhandari. I will just tell you that what is the difference between all the different types of rivet heads. So what is rivet head? I know that so far what I know that this is a rivet. This is a rivet, and this portion is called head of rivet, and this portion is called head of rivet. So this head is available in many sizes. I repeat, head of the rivets are available in many sizes. On the basis of different sizes, different classification of or different types of rivets are there on the basis of rivet head. You can see there are five different classification of rivet heads. One is called your snap head rivet. Second one is your pan head rivet. Third one is your counter sunk head rivet. Fourth one is your flat head rivet, and the last one is your half counter sunk head rivet. So out of these five types, the most popular type of rivet head is your snap head rivet, because this snap head rivet is mostly around 70 to 80% times we use this snap head rivet in industry, or if you see in your day-to-day life, if you say in railway bridges, this snap head rivet is mostly used. So that's why this snap head rivet is nothing but it is the most popular type of rivet head. It is also known as button head. I repeat, snap the other name of snap head rivet is button head rivet or button rivet. I'm writing it down over here. The other name of snap head rivet is button head rivet. Fine. The diagram will clearly tell you the dimensions. So no need to explain. No need to explain. Fine. And this snap head rivet is mostly used in boilers, pressure vessels, and in general engineering applications such as in railway bridges. What is a pressure vessel? We know that pressure vessel is nothing. This is a pressure vessel. Boiler is nothing but a type of pressure vessel. This is a pressure vessel. Fine. You can see this is your joint, this is your joint, this is your joint of the pressure vessel, this is your joint of the pressure vessel, this is your joint of the pressure vessel. So at these joints we will use the rivet joints. Specifically we will go for snap head rivet. Is it clear?
Clear, sir.
Fine. Okay. So from the book you can refer the theory part, that is what is span head. Only what is, see, uh, if you change the cross section of the rivet head, then the type of rivet head will change. If you see pan head rivet, what is the cross section of the rivet head? It is trapezium in shape. Similarly, countersunk head rivet, again the shape is trapezium, but there is a difference in the length. The length, that is this length of the pan head rivet is 1.6 times of the shank diameter. This length of the countersunk head rivet is 1.7 times of the shank diameter of the rivet. Fine. What is a flat head rivet? The head portion of the rivet will be will be completely flat. Head portion of the rivet will be completely flat, and its length will be 2 times the diameter of the shank. Its length will be 2 times the diameter of the shank, and its thickness will be 0.25 times the diameter of the shank portion of the rivet. Same case is with the half sunk head rivet also. It is a combination of your say this is uh, an arc portion, say this is an arc portion as well as this trapezoidal head portion rivet. It is a combination of this arc portion and trapezoidal head portion rivet, which is your half counter sunk head rivet. Okay, any doubt so far? Any doubt so far?
Clear. No, sir, no doubt. Clear.
Okay, okay, fine, fine. So next topic is your properties of rivet. So far we have understood what is a rivet, what is a rivet joint, how a rivet joint is used to join two metallic parts or two dissimilar metallic parts. Then we have understood that what are the specifications of rivet. Then we have seen what are the different types of rivet heads. Now if you are using a rivet joint in any mechanical assembly, you should, as a designer, you should know the properties of rivet, because this properties will help you or will tell you that when your rivet can fail. Fine. Or it will help you to design your rivet joint. So the first property is the rivet joint should be sound free from crack, flaws, burrs, pits and other defects. No need to explain, it is self explanatory that The rivet which you are designing, it should be sound free, from no cracks should be there, no flaws should be there, no pits means some hole is there or in rivet or not, and all these things. Second property is the head portion of the rivet should be concentric with the axis of the rivet. What do you understand by the second property? Can anyone tell? Then I will answer. What do you understand by the second property? The second property tells you that the head portion of the rivet is concentric with the axis of the shank.
Sir, the head and the shank portion must be on the same line. The center must lie on the same
That
line.
means I can say that the center line of head and the rivet, that means head and the rivet shank will have a common center. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Fine.
Yes, sir.
So that means if this is my rivet, if this is my rivet, this is that common center. Say this is the center portion of the head and this is the center portion of the shank. It should have a, that means the center line should be same. That is that second property. And the third property is the end of the rivet should be square with respect to the axis. Now see, this is your axis. With respect to the axis, it should be a square. It should be a square. So these are the three desirable properties of rivets. Any doubt? कोई डाउट है किसी को?
No, sir.
Hello.
No, sir, no doubt.
Okay, so one more last topic we will discuss in today's class, and it is very small topic, and that topic is the length of the rivet shank. Now, so far we have discussed that what is a rivet joint. Fine. So now, what should be the length of the rivet shank? If you see this diagram, in this diagram we are having two parts of a mechanical assembly. Say this is part A and this is part B. Part A is having some thickness T1, part B is having some thickness say T2. This is wrong, it should be T2. And capital L is nothing but the total length of the shank portion. Capital L is nothing but the total length of the shank portion. You need to determine what is the total length of the shank portion of the rivet when you have joined these two metallic parts with the help of this rivet joint. Fine. So let this A, what is this A? A is the length of the shank portion, length of the shank portion which is necessary to form the closing head of the rivet. What is this A? A is nothing but the leftover portion of the shank which is necessary to form the closing head of the rivet. That is A. Then from the diagram I can see that the overall length of the shank will be L is equal to T1 thickness of the first plate plus T2 thickness of the second plate plus the leftover shank portion necessary to form the closing head of the rivet, which is A. So the overall length of the shank will be L is equal to T1 plus T2 plus A, and all these things are in mm. That means T1, T2 and A all are in mm. Is it clear? Any doubt?
Yes, sir. Clear.
Okay, so this relation you should keep in mind. We will be requiring these relations while designing the rivet joint. Okay, then with this I will end my today's lecture over here. If you are having any doubt, you may ask, or if you are left to give your attendance, you can give your attendance in the chat box, or else you can leave the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.